Call the council meeting to order. Yeah. No. First of all, we are joined by Councilmember Parizek, Dominguez, Councilmember Shiltz, and Mayor ProTem Cara. Councilmember Martinez had something come up and couldn't be here tonight. So first up is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we move to item number 3, which is approval of the consent agenda, which amounts to the city council meetings minutes from April 7th, 2026. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Second. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And we move on to item number 4A, which is a 12-month Class C retail alcohol license for Plymouth, a nightclub expiring 1/30/2027. Is there a motion to approve? Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there discussion?
Sounds like there's been a lengthy meeting with the owners and trying to establish the parameters.
Yeah, the city clerk and chief met with the owners and Laura was on the park and I think they had a very productive meeting from the way it sounds, and I have confidence in some of the items outlined that you all can see. Just in building a relationship between the city and the owners of Plymouth and our police department. They're on the right track.
We had an excellent meeting. It was about a week ago, about 1 o'clock. We sat down with the chief and the clerk, and then he was there. And what we did is we had an excellent opportunity to build trust. We talked about there was miscommunication, and so we talked about the expectations that there would be. And then, so now that we went through those little good ideas, when you say, chief, and so we went through that, and then we talked about if there were problems, what we would do when there was miscommunication about how to handle it. Now our office will be available to handle those so it won't go up. These things, if something happens, we want to handle it right away, as opposed to it becoming something bigger. And so between those things, I thought it built a lot of trust. And I thought that it was a good thing on all ends. And everyone had an opportunity to hear what the expectations were. I don't expect them to. Or if there are, we'll be able to handle it, what you say. Yes.
Is there more discussion? Okay, the motion is on the floor, and I believe that this is a consent vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion is approved. To item 4B, a 12-month Class B retail alcohol license for Highway 6 Spirits LLC expiring in 3/15/2027. Is there a motion to approve? Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion?
The only thing when I was reviewing the information that I noticed was that it's stating that this business is not registered with the Secretary of State. I'm sure they've got to be. So I'm wondering if it's just a typo. That would be something that we would correct, or we could move forward as is.
So it is the council's decision how you would like to proceed. I can put within the ABD, I can put the information on the questions that have been brought up. The other thing you can do is you have that ability to deny and send it back for the correction of it. That is completely up to you guys. And then once it is sent to ABD, then ABD follows through with whatever direction the council gives.
Thank you.
And yes, I would guess that it is a typo. based on the information that it's provided in previous applications. However, that is something that can also be, you can approve it based on being able to provide that documentation as well. With a stipulation.
That's if we had any issues with this establishment of. Okay.
Well, let's clear up the issue of, whether they're registered with the Secretary of State. So
So they're currently, like it's
Inactive.
inactive.
Is it an LLC?
Yes. Chances are they probably.
They file a board, they could get that together, be stopped in Secretary of State and just get it reinstated.
The audience, we don't.
I think we can recognize people in the audience, you know, for the issue that's on the law.
With
I know
the,
Mr. Clark's familiar with the LLC registration process, so. Just as an assistant, I appreciate that.
I don't know how it's going.
No, they're inactive right now, but specifically because they missed their filing annual reports. Most likely we didn't, but they're still probably paying their taxes and things, it's just. A matter of reactivating, but again, as the clerk said, you know, that's council decision if you wanna. Deny it and have that completed. When you proceed, should communicate that with you. You can get that educated with that. Listening.
Question would be, do we need to have that completed before we approve funds?
I mean, well, I mean, you would want them to be an active business. I'm not an attorney, so I wouldn't really know how to answer that question. I mean, it could be rectified easily and timely, but currently right now it's you know, the state sees you as an inactive business.
I can assist. If I may.
Sure, right.
If the LLC becomes, if it goes into inactive status, it becomes individual members, so it's owned by individuals. So if you were to approve it as an LLC, that entity doesn't exist. It could be done through the individual members. It'd be good to, it would be my opinion that to get that thing, really give them a couple weeks, 3 weeks or something like that to rectify that with the state, it wouldn't be a problem. And then it could be approved under that name, because otherwise the name business doesn't exist.
City Clerk, could the amendment that, or the motion that's on the floor be amended to have this approved based on them establishing that they are current on their LLC?
Yes.
So who made the motion? I don't remember.
Parizek.
Okay, Tim, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Do we have to let the first one die though?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
You would let, so you would ask for this one 0 to 4.
Based on
Correct, yep,
the person or the entity being active or current.
correct. Yes.
Okay. So there is a motion on the floor. If we were concerned about the LLC status, the appropriate vote would be a no. All in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, aye.
and
Okay, is there another motion?
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve the amended license renewal.
Based on
The,
the entity
Yeah.
updating their LLC status with the Secretary of State
As active.
as active. Is that your motion?
yes.
Okay, is there a second?
second,
It's been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we move on to item 5A. And first up is the engineer's report.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead and get started. The first big item is an update on Sixth Street. So we had the pre-construction meeting on April 10th. The Mid-American, informed us that they also have to get their gas main and services located. They're following a similar schedule to the electric utility. So at this time, so right now they're up there, they're getting the trees removed preemptively, but, the rest of the work will probably start in either late July or early August, depending on how quickly they're able to get their utilities out of the way. The first step would be is, we're requesting them to do East Clark to Corn Street first, to get that work done. So that way the contractor that can come in and start working on Clark Street. That's the big intersection where the low point is. So a lot of the utilities, that's where you'll start a lot of that utility installation. And then they'll work their way east while the electric and gas utility go westward from Clark Street to Columbus Street. So the plan would be, is, in my estimation, is that half would get done this year, and then the second half would be completed in the spring. We will have to extend their completion date, because this is outside the control of the contractor. However, until we get a better handle of when that actual schedule will be, I told the contractor we'll have to work with them once we know when they get in there and start working, and we have a better idea of what that true schedule will be, because I still have a hesitation. I'm cautiously optimistic that the utilities will be out of the way, Clark Street to Corn Street by August, but I don't want to sit here and tell you it will be, because I've worked with enough private utility companies to know that that's not always the case. So, we'll keep pushing them along. The electric utility will be bidding their section, or starting their process for bidding tonight, and then be letting that in mid-May, and the second meeting in May is when the council will consider bids for that. We're helping out them through that process, the engineering firm over there. And then the next big item would be getting the easement agreements completed for temporary construction, and then the private utility for the electric. So there's going to be a permanent 10-foot easement on one side, so the electric has the room to be able to bury their utilities. And I was talking to Lee earlier, I'm going to shoot over some nights that are not available over the next couple of weeks to get a neighborhood meeting set up before work really starts to hit on East Sixth Street, so we can go through that project with the residents there on the street. And also talk through those easements and hopefully get them either executed that night or shortly thereafter. So the attorney will have to prepare the actual agreement itself. We got the legal descriptions and the exhibits all completed. Residential, our feedback that's up later. We've already done our review and provided our feedback on it, and they've addressed all comments from the engineering perspective. West Liberty Pool, we had the work session earlier, and then the contracts on the agenda later. So if there are already questions, I can answer them now, or you can wait till then. And then the water side, lot of action there. So one of the things, as they replace the membranes, they switch the pumps. One thing that we're working on is getting the permit written for those pumps, because it is a different type of pump. If you replace a like for like, you don't have to get a construction permit through the DNR, but since it's not a like for like, you have to just submit a construction permit. It's going to be an easy process. I'm not concerned about it getting it through, but the other thing is they're having to tell us which pump that it will be. So we're still waiting on the model from, Harn, who's the one who's supplying that equipment to the West Liberty water staff. So at that time, when they get that over to us, we'll be able to get that submitted, and it will be a pretty small fee. It's going to be 10% or a percent of whatever the overall cost is for that for part of the system. The other item is we went through the risk and resiliency assessment and also the emergency response plan with the water staff last week. And our operations team is working on getting that updated after going through that all with them. And then we'll have that final draft over to the water staff in the city by the end of the month. And then that will be completed by the time that the June 30th deadline that they need to have that completed by. And then the other update that I'll have here upcoming in the near future is the next steps through the SRF program for funding for lead line services. So we're working through that, trying to get an overall scope put together, what needs to be done. It's really gonna be focusing on one area of town to start off with, because there's a lot of unknowns in the city right now, so we're gonna focus on one area and try and get the ones that we know addressed, and then also that area, also try and identify what the existing unknowns are, if they're lead services are, if they're just your copper, plastic, or even galvanized. So we want to make sure we get those identified, so we're gonna kind of do it in a focused area, and then each year we'll apply for the same funds, just a different targeted area in town. Wastewater, we don't have a whole lot of updates right now. Like I said, the big things is sorry, I forgot to print off my report because I was busy with the pool stuff, so. The big things is getting that, that draft done for the water staff. They submit to the DNR, getting the construction permit for the anti-scale pump system for the DNR, and then also working on getting the neighborhood meeting set up for East Sixth Street, so we can have those with the residents there. And one of the things that I mentioned earlier that we're going to be doing, and we'll probably create a link for, and that will, for the city to put to the Facebook and also to your website. However you want to use that link, and it will have like a general project update as we get moving into these different projects with the city. So that way residents, when they need to, they can click on that link and it will be updated. East Sixth Street will probably be weekly or bi-weekly, just because once that project gets going, there's going to be a lot of changes going on. But then with the pool project and some of these other things, it will just be as new information comes about. We'll get those updated. So I'll be getting that over to the city in the next couple of weeks, so you can start posting that on your website and Facebook pages.
Thank you.
Are there questions or comments for the city engineer? If hearing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Move on to the city clerk, submitted their report and was made available. So are there questions or additions?
For city manager?
Did I say city clerk? I'm sorry. I have a lot of remarks The city manager submitted her report, and we received that via email. So are there any questions or concerns looking through the report or anything else?
The only thing I did overlook putting in my report is I did have a follow-up conversation with Lumen, and Lenny was included along with Adam Reinhardt. One of discussions with regards to their continued fiber optic project on East Sixth Street and how it coordinates with our current project. So they worked through some of those, and then we also have one existing private homeowner and now another private homeowner that their private sewer service line was hit. And so I've been working with Charles Ortman of Lumen. He's been really good to work with, and have reached back out to those two homeowners, so we can hopefully wrap up getting those things completed for them.
We have to review, I forgot to mention that we have to review the updated plans that they sent over for East Sixth Street to make sure there's no conflicts, which will be by the end of this would be effective.
I think they were running into the same depth issue. Yeah.
They deepened it, they should be okay.
That was it.
Okay. And Brett, did you want to make a report for the council? If possible. Yeah, if possible. Well, I think this would be the time.
All right, so Brett with the ambulance here. First time doing one of these, but with no news is good news, so we've been good for a while. 10 days ago on April 12th, we were transporting a patient and one of our ambulances broke down. It's been diagnosed as an engine failure. The cost to replace that is going to be upwards of $20,000 for repairs. But it leaves us with one ambulance. So the purpose of me coming here tonight to address the city council is that it's going to put us in kind of a precarious position. Having two ambulances, one was our reserve, our safety net, which is now gone, and we're relying on one ambulance for an extended amount of time. This is where we really rely on the mutual aid agreements that we have with other agencies. Johnson County Ambulance, Tipton Ambulance, Wilton, Muscatine Fire, and other regional ambulance services. In that 10 days, we've had 19 calls for service, and we had to rely on mutual aid for second out medicals within the city of West Liberty and our ambulance district 3 times. Those response times for getting a second ambulance into our community have been 20 to 30 minutes plus. That's nothing against other agencies or other services, because that's just how long it takes to get them notified and get them into our town. So we might be seeing other ambulance services in West Liberty, lights activated, and people might wonder why we're seeing Johnson County paramedics or Wilton Fire or Muscatine Fire in West Liberty, not the West Liberty ambulance. It's not because we don't want to be, it's just we do not have the capabilities to do it with only one ambulance. The ambulance that broke down was a 2012 AEV Alexis Ford F550 Type 1 ambulance. It was had unit call sign of 747. It had 130,000 miles. In 2025, out of 591 total calls, 747 responded to 309 of those. So far in 2026, we have 189 calls. 747 responded to 87 of those. So the trucks definitely get used. They definitely put on some miles, and the wear and tear on them is rather hefty. The forms of replacement right now, there's really only one feasible option that we're finding while doing our research, and that'd be buying a used one. As you know, last year in 2025, the city allocated the $100,000 of the federal ARPA funds to the new ambulance that we have on order. We cannot speed this ambulance up. It is contracted into a queue, and even if we, for some reason, were able to convince them to start production on it tomorrow, it would still be 4 months until we're able to take delivery. Renting an ambulance is cost prohibitive as renting an ambulance for a year would be $85,000. So we're really down to buying a used one that would fit the bill, be similar to what we had, and that would give us something at the end of the wait for an ambulance to deliver that we would either be able to keep as a third out reserve to further prevent things like this. So we had that safety net even more so, or we could resell to try to recuperate some funds. That being said, right now we are really in the phase of trying to find out where those funds can come from. I had some conversations with City Manager Geertz about funding, just trying to figure out where funds are, what funds are available. And so far we're kind of striking out on where we can easily access funds to resolve this emergency. Obviously there is a bit of urgency to the matter. The people who will be most affected by this are the people who have the emergency. So we have been fairly forward about some things in our communications, but it's because we don't want anybody to have to wait that long. I can say from personal experience, when you have to wait for an ambulance that long for a loved one, it seems 10 minutes seems like an hour. We don't have first responders in West Liberty. We have an ambulance, so we don't have but vehicles are out of what to do. So without the ambulance, there's no one to get there before us. And PD is limited in what they are able to do. They are not a medically certified agency. Hopefully in the very short future, we'll have more things to present to you about funding options, the funding possibilities. As of right now, it's still kind of pursuing avenues as we don't see anything clear right now of where we can get things, get those funds from. We're looking at about $50,000 to $55,000 for used ambulance. If you have people inquiring about stuff, this is what the mutual aid partners are for. This is what mutual aid agreements are for. We provide mutual aid to other agencies just as they provide it to us. But it's not something that can be done long term, as all the agencies around us are kind of strapped for vehicles and fleets. And staff members. So I just want to come here and unfortunately give you the bad news, but the information and knowledge to be able to address questions, comments, or concerns if they come up. If you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them as I could.
Other questions or discussion?
I have a question, and I think you answered it, Rick. You said we don't have first responders, because I'm thinking like of the suburban, if there was mutual aid that needed to be called, would there be like EMTs in town that could take the suburban, do triage or whatever until the Johnson County comes? Or-
Yeah, so we have a 2007 Suburban with 150,000 miles, and we currently have all the equipment that we're able to fit in the Suburban from that down the ambulance into the Suburban. Obviously, it cannot carry all of the equipment that we have in the ambulance, and we cannot transport it. We try to go out to calls in that. The dispatch center has us as an ambulance service. So when they see that first ambulance out, they're normally not paging us again because they know we don't have a second unit. Sometimes they do, but they're normally just going straight to a mutual aid.
Maybe there's some way that we could talk to Muscom, like for a temporary.
We've talked. They are aware that we are down to one ambulance, and we try to have them dispatch on. We also try to listen for like other agencies being called into West Liberty. So we do the best we can, but
Yeah.
they have a lot going on down there, and it's not something that's standardly built in. So there are bumps in the road, but we try to keep them to a minimum.
Yeah, or even like the gator, like, I mean, if it's an in-town call, like for rural, like.
As long as it stays warmer, I'm okay with
Yeah,
that.
because it's got lights on it too.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
but I
it-
understand what you mean with the communication that must on.
We pulled the monitor, we pulled the Lucas, our medications and everything, but we keep them suburban. We just also run into issues with pharmacy board compliance and everything, keeping some of that stuff in the suburban.
Yeah.
So we try to do, I guess, what we can with what we can, but it does throw a wrench into standard operations.
And you would source the used ambulance versus the rebuild or the engine repair just because of timing, I'm assuming, or?
So there are other.
You just don't want to throw an old engine or an engine into the unit or?
The 747 had some minor issues with
Oh, yeah,
some minor issues without the engine being blown. Those minor issues weren't enough to necessarily say, yeah, this truck is out of service. But they make it non-feasible to spend the amount of money to put a new engine into it, where we could go and source a new used truck without any of those issues. And those issues are like door seals, electrical issues in the back, some lighting issues, some fusing and stuff. So
There's.
cup holders. Yeah, surprisingly, everybody wants cup holders.
Okay.
And then we can take the auto load system out of the 747, and we plan to take everything that we can out of that ambulance. But there's just no money to resell that.
Are there other questions?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Committee meetings, let's see, you've had an ambulance meeting, or we had a fire department meeting since we last met, and discussed more about the transition. This puts a bind on the transition because the new agency has to have a vehicle in order to qualify. We need to have a vehicle in order to be able to continue services. So that's part of this. There also was an issue, and I can't remember if I brought this up I don't know, I didn't bring it up the last council meeting, but the wording that we put in on the transfer of the ambulance fund or the emergency service fund, there was an issue with the wording because if we, the insurance company or the billing for the new agency would not accept that wording. So we have another meeting coming up tomorrow night by Zoom with some additional wording that I received just a little while before the council meeting. So we'll have that meeting tomorrow evening. And then the next meeting of the board will be the first Monday the second Monday in May. And I can't remember that date. I believe that it is the 11th will be the next meeting, 6:30 with the fire department. Anything to add to that?
No, that was the most part. Some other highlights, I think, is we probably hit a broader, group of people in here than the fire department meeting itself. They have the clerk, they're getting up to speed on what the, duties there will be for that. We had the chief's report, and they also have, maybe 2 new possibilities for additions to the fire department, which should be great. We always need new people. They're looking at getting the ladder truck, recertified, so it can be returned and up to speed, and the ambulance situation and stuff.
I'm not aware of any other committee meetings. There was no, I think that's it. So, okay. And then council reports. Are there any council reports to be made?
I've got a few things.
Okay, then you're recognized.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. There's a rural listening project. I forwarded it to the city clerk and mayor and city manager to look at. It's a huge survey that went out to several rural communities, and it's basically them reporting out to webinar on May 7th. I think it might be really good. Maybe Phil might want to chime in too. I can forward it to you. So I plan on listening in on that on May 7th at 7 p.m. And then I'll have an immigrant justice steering committee meeting through the local progress group this Wednesday. I'm also getting interviewed and will be on a podcast called Daily Yonder, which is a podcast that's on Spotify, and they talk about rural life, rural communities. So that'll be great. I'm going to be a panelist at the upcoming state LULAT conference, along with Representative Zabner and new city council members, Barron from Des Moines, and I believe Angel Ramirez. I'm not sure. That's exciting because I love anytime I get to brag about this liberty. Also going to be, I believe, this is during a council week. So May 19th and 20th, I'm going to be going to a conference in Los Angeles that is geared towards how tools and strategies to protect our communities during federal deployments. So I'm eager to see what that's about. And then I'll be also out July 9th through the 12th through the national convening for local progress. Those are all paid for by local progress, not by the city of West Liberty, just to put that out there. And I'm really feel very fortunate to be able to do all of that. And so that's my report.
Thanks. Are there other council reports? Hearing none, we will move on to item number 6A, vendor voucher claim list number 1, in the amount of $683,453.83. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we move on to 6B, pre-paid claim list number 2, Cardinal sign and graphics in the amount of $5,336.96. Is there a motion to approve? Motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Is there discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll abstain from this vote.
All right. Is there further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we will move on to item number 7, which is public comments and or correspondence, and it's the time that is set aside for public comments on issues that are not listed in the agenda. We ask that people state their name and address for the record, and that folks keep their comments to no more than 2 minutes. Are there any public comments? Are there any public comments? Are there any public comments? Hearing none, we will move on to 8A, which is new business, and first is Oh,
We
sorry.
still need council and city.
Man, I've been missing the things along tonight, so apologies for that. Okay. So city council member, public comments or correspondence, council member Shiltz.
I received nothing.
Mayor ProTem McFerren,
Nothing.
council member Dominguez.
No.
Council member Parizek, of course. All right, so then with that, we will move on to, the city manager for public comments or correspondence.
I just had received an email from Priscilla Hasek, communicating, or essentially asking a question about fundraising an amount, and the potential of opening the pool, and I stated that I would bring that up with council. However, I can follow up with her just to provide a little more information with regards to the public safety aspect of it.
All right. City clerk,
Mary Larson, who we contacted about the pool as well, asking if she was able to attend meetings, and they did let her know if there's no open.
okay, now we'll move on to AA. Consideration of bids for the wastewater treatment plant phase one baseline improvement project. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion?
And this is just, we put endorsement at the end because we moved forward with the bid process. We just have to acknowledge that we have received those items. Typically, this will be handled differently, but due to the circumstances, we just have to have correspondence that we did receive them.
So I did put a brief, part in my city manager report, and the situation, for transparency with the public, that we continued on with the process for bid under BNK's recommendation. On April 1st, the city held a meeting with Betsy Foodston, and BNK was to be a part of that meeting. Unfortunately, BNK did not have a representative at that meeting. Therefore, it did not allow the city to proceed forward with identifying information specifically to an agreement for the cost of that upgrade. So at this time, was speaking to our bond attorneys, they're saying with me, we have, just as the clerk stated, we have it in front of you, just so you can report that we received them. You know, based on our timeline, we have 60 days to award the contract. And we are looking after regrouping with BNK to get information with the rest of the foods team. However, I have not got a response about establishing that meeting, so to continue. We are in a position where we, I recommend that we would want to be in an agreement with those costs before proceeding with the project or even the bid contract. And our legal counsel has communicated with that as well. So we'll provide you some more information as it develops.
There further discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Parizek,
Yes.
Dominguez,
Yes.
McFerrin,
Yes.
Shiltz,
Yes.
motion passes 4-0.
As a result, we will move on to item 8B, resolution 2026-04, 21-330. A resolution approving the annual issuance of a request for qualifications, RFQ, for sidewalk repair programs in the city of West Liberty. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Schultz,
Yes.
McFerrin,
Yes.
Dominguez,
Yes.
Parizek,
Yes.
motion passes 4-0.
That moves us to item 8D, resolution 2026-04, 21-332. A resolution approving wait a minute, I missed one. Sorry, we moved to, item 8C, resolution 2026-04, 421-331, a resolution setting wages for the West Liberty Police Department, Parks and Recreation Department, and the Library Department. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Parizek,
Yes.
Dominguez,
Yes.
McFerren,
Yes.
Shiltz.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Now we will move to item 8D, resolution 2026-042-332, a resolution approving a professional services proposal with the INS Group Incorporated, ISG, for a condition assessment and facility plan for the Kimberly Park Pool. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Dominguez,
No.
McFerren,
Yes.
Shiltz,
Yes.
Parizek.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-1.
Next up is resolution 8E, resolution 2026-0431-333, a resolution accepting the preliminary plat of Deepu.
You're good.
Okay, well, the next one I might have trouble with.
Yeah, that's it. Good job.
In the city of West Liberty, Iowa. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I'm just gonna pass, we have, in addition to what you have for the preliminary plat, these were, the preliminary designs that we have been meeting with, Mr. Geary on, city staff and still with the WD, have been meeting with, Mr. Geary on, and we had a good meeting with planning and zoning, going over the preliminary plat. As I would point out here, as you're coming through this, just a reminder with East Sixth Street, it's connected to Farmers Lane. That's a part of that project. We're going to be increasing that width, and that's in line with the project that Mr. Geary has before us. We're excited by this because we have an opportunity to have a development project that aligns with the workforce project through the state of Iowa and applying for that grant. In addition to that, we will be working with Mr. Geary on tax increment finance incentives. And my position, I believe that the Deepak, I'm going to call you Deepak. I mean, he's done a really great job of identifying a development that it's fitting a need for affordability and an opportunity for a true first-time home ownership. And that's his goal, is to work with people that, he has as rental to give them an opportunity to transition into home ownership. But I don't want to steal all of that away from him, because we do have him here if he'd like to speak, or if Bill has anything to say about the project.
The only thing I'll add is that we have a development meeting with Deepak and his team and with the city again Friday afternoon. I'll be coming back to the council probably within the next 4 weeks. We are going to apply for a workforce housing tax credit for this. This project aligns with affordable housing in the state. So there is some money available that if we have city support, which that tax increment financing would give us, we could apply for a sizable grant that would help reimburse a lot of the costs. So yeah, exciting new development. Again, we need more affordable housing. This is one of 2 new housing developments coming this year that we'll be talking about. So yeah.
Question. Do I recall it's single family housing? Is that correct?
That's right, yes. And adding to what Bill would say, that if he passed that, the school is pretty much in a dead area. But in since we're just working at the 70th Street and bringing the
the farm lane and the two adding into the 7th Street. It will beautiful, beautify that area, and initiate out to the end completely this project. And the other thing is, the project, the grant, from the state, and it will help on us to just minimize the tax increment in the money, we're using it. And we wanted to have opportunity to the buyers to use a tax amendment. That will help and them too, and work with the bank. So I'm more in focus doing on that and working more with the field. And the other thing is that we have a dozen in the prospect, waiting, to get in this house. And currently those dozens folks living in our rental houses, and they've been very fantastic, paying renting on time and all that, and they're good. So if we move them into these newer houses, then we can put those older houses on sale, so that will lay up and add in a more the members of the community, it's potentially member of the community to the community. And then by doing that, as far as this housing right here, we will be doing it ourselves to just minimize the cost, and we will be working harder to just bring the total cost in less than $300,000. And then the folks working at the Westbury Food and should be able to afford it to buy this house. And Jackson incremental are going to help to just get the loan from the bank, and that would be a plus point for us. And yes, and then for us, and how do we make more money? When we get more folks and living down, then we'll be selling more Papa John's, more beer. That's how we got the money. That's how it goes.
So you're pretty solid on, you think with the engineering as far as the flood planing and the,
Yes, we've been working on that last 4 months, and these being very tremendous and providing us all the information. And the flood plan is already been approved by the DNR. It's good to go.
Yep.
And then yes, that's a number one. Otherwise, the grant will not be approved, and if we don't take care of that, we will need about 2,500 and then load. As I said, loaded up. Yeah. The dirt.
Yeah.
And to take care of that. And we're hoping, to get that 7th Street, 6th Street. 6th Street going, because we're working with the subcontractor. And the whole idea is to bring the customer down. So that's why we will be working with the same, contractor that are working in the street. And if that street, going, and then we'll get probably 500 load truck, dirt.
Yeah.
Just from there. So can you imagine that cost, how much it's gonna be down? So rest of then we'll have to just get it from somewhere else. Your answer is yes. Yeah, we are living the plan that's.
They've been managing it very well, and they've staked it all out, and they're dirt moving and everything, all of our permits are all in, and in addition to that, I just wanted to also add that again, the council had provided a set aside for a park, or if not putting a park within your development, you can put the funds back into the city's park and rec. However, Deepak understands the walkability of our community, and we're proposing a walkable trail then that connects over to Wapsie. And and his goal is to also have that walkability to get the development community through the rest of West Liberty. So he's been very, very supportive of those things already being identified. So
That would be.
So kids don't have to walk across the cornfields and
Just
in a lot of safe.
There will be the trail and the tree and
Yes.
all that. I'm a big believer of the beautification, and that will help to everybody. It's an any situation. Yes, upfront it's gonna cost a little bit more money, but down the road it pays off.
I think the layout looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that, I mean, if it comes out like that in person, it's gonna be great, so, and also the price range and stuff, I think falls more in line with the population of West Liberty than some other things that we had in the past, so thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, is there further discussion? Hearing none, whoops. Somebody
I
said,
just said thank you for talking.
the clerk will call the roll.
McFerrin,
Yes.
Shiltz,
Yes.
Parizek,
Yes.
Dominguez.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thanks.
And I'll see you on Friday.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we are to 8F, resolution 2026-04-21-333. A resolution setting the date for the bid letting for the electrical portion of the East Sixth Street reconstruction project, and setting the date for a public hearing on the plan specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost in the city of West Liberty, Iowa. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Shiltz,
Yes.
McFerrin,
Yes.
Dominguez.
Yes.
Parizek.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Then we are to item 8G, reset the date for the public hearing for the 26-27 budget on April 27th at 6:30 PM. This is consensus. Are we all okay with that?
What time is it?
It will be at 6:30 PM.
Yeah, should be on.
All right. Then the next item on is preview of the May 5th council meeting and usual stuff.
Yeah, we have an event with Kristen, from, Francisco for their upcoming, festival. So we'll have that, for council.
I think that's September 12th. This is the date for that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll have a whole, another. Beautiful for you.
Okay. All right. Something maybe we should put on the agenda, checking, do I have a couple of students?
Yeah.
We're doing this for class.
Yeah.
We offer, after we adjourn, we offer, if you'd like to have your photograph taken with members of the council, we could do that. So we also can show that you were here for the meeting.
We get to recognize, wonderful former retired educators that are attending our meetings.
Oh,
We
really?
all greatly appreciate Ms. McIntyre, Miss Brady. Thank you.
Okay, how nice.
Both of my teachers.
Ah,
I was their favorite too.
About that, I think.
Oh, come on.
Saying they survived my children.
I think one of is worse for them than your children.
if one of this gets out of hand, is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We are adjourned. So if you do want to come up.